Hello and welcome once again to Wars Going On. I'm Mark Turris and we're here on the Forerunner server bringing you the latest in what's going on in Watcher of Realms. As ever, I'm joined by Sebastian Kane to get his inputs. Please do remember to like, subscribe and comment down below because that really does help grow the channel with the algorithm and helps get more people bringing to the channel and help it grow faster. How are you doing, Sebastian?
I don't know when you're going to drop this eventually, but as it stands right now, it has been a crazy week, especially with the holidays coming up. So I'm trying to survive. So for those that have noticed that I haven't been putting out a lot of content lately, is because of that. But I did have a chance to take Sun Wukong for a spin, so I'm gonna be giving some input in that. There's some stuff that I'm working with the development team for the holidays. So as soon as there's more flexibility, I think I'll have more in time to enjoy the game. But lately, it has been just trying to catch up on things when it comes to Watcher of Realms, especially with you too, because I haven't had a chance to talk to you in a while either.
No, it's been pretty busy. I mean, you couldn't get the developers to pay for your ticket to New York then.
No. No, I was not chasing any cosplayers or anything like that. But I'm gonna be intrigued to see what type of pictures comes out of that.
Yeah, that's going to
The
be
four
interesting.
cities, that picture had, or that illustration, was New York, London, Paris, and Cologne, right? So are they planning on
Yeah,
doing something for each one of those cities?
it was interesting that France got 2 cities. So it's other places they could have gone.
There must be a
Uh,
lot of French players then in the game, so maybe that's why they decided
yeah,
to focus on.
yeah, maybe. Anyway, so this was going to be like a kind of impromptu, sort of more fun episode of what's going on, and we do intend to have a bit of like forethinking about what's going to come next year. But actually, the developers are dropping yet another patch on Forerunners this week, and as of the time of recording, this is going to drop in about 5 hours' time. So let's have a look at what the developers are bringing us in the next patch. So, first up, it's a change to the basic attack action for Volker. Volker is obviously the hero you get from the storyline quests. She's pretty much a staple of many content now. So a lot of Guild Dungeon 2 teams that are running her. So I guess they're trying to move it on from maybe that ring of spikes that appears around her to something else. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
And
the
then,
only thing is Volka. You just said it right. Volka just became a much more usable hero when she was made a 2-tile fighter, right?
yeah,
So we were no longer using her just for the shortening of the deployment cost. We'd actually bring her in to do something on top of what she offers with her awakening. So. And I know that we're gonna briefly talk about the hero of the year, and I think she might be on the list, but she definitely has found her place in the game now in terms of what she can do.
yeah, absolutely. She's an absolutely solid member of a team. I frequently use her in Void Rifts, just not because of the damage reduction, but the sort of the fact that she's a solid fighter now, and she's able to put out good, decent damage. And yeah, Gear Dungeon 2 is primarily where I'm using her in the bottom line because that's where she's really working well with a solid defender. Next up is Ardia. Now, this is an amusing one where fixed an issue where the circular blade from her talent would sometimes fire in the incorrect direction. I assume this means that rather than triggering only when it was going out, sometimes when it was coming back, it would trigger rather than her throwing the blade behind her. But anyway, they're going to fix that issue. So she's not getting additional bonus damage that she shouldn't be.
Perfect.
Next up is one for all of you people who disliked the fact that they took away the enhanced gear option, so they're now adding a +0 in the filters, so that you can find all of your gear which is so that has been enhanced. And this is a nice little quality of life one. You're going to be able to sell and lock newly forged artifacts as soon as you receive them. So rather than having to try and remember
Thank
what you draw,
you.
you're going to be able to sell them straight away. If all those legendary ones that you don't want.
Yeah, that one is one that we've put on the wish list for a long time now. Just yeah,
Definitely.
it finally came to their senses.
Okay. Next up, we've got a discount for the Shard Legendary Summoning Crystal in the black market, allowing commanders to purchase it at a more favorable price. This is not bad because at the moment it was something like 100 shards for one fragment, and it's just not worth it. It's yeah, yeah. You're gonna have to you have to spend so much money getting so many gems getting one fragment currently that it's okay if you're like on 29 fragments and you're trying to get just one more so you can get a final summon in for because you're chasing pity or you're trying to win an oracle, then it's okay for that, but it's an expensive way of doing it. Hopefully this will make it more reasonably priced, that makes it more appealing to people.
Yeah, you and I discussed this that the prices as they had shown to us here in the Forerunners, uh, when we saw it, we like this is not going to entice anybody to do it unless, like
No.
you said, they just needed one or two fragments to complete one.
Yeah. Increasing the drop rate of Mythic Extract in the Extreme 2 stages. This is, I know, something that people had been asking for in the requests stages, that they were, even though they'd improved the drop rate of all the materials, they were now being overloaded with materials and not getting enough mythics. And they wanted to, this is obviously an attempt to redress the balance on that and make it a bit more fair across the board, that everyone's getting what they need to from that stage.
So we go from 0.5 to 0.6%.
Maybe.
No,
Right.
what they should do is also take away the insignias on Void Rift, on Nightmare even. Just take those away, replace them with Mythic Extracts. That would be a simple solution to this as well.
Or if they don't want to go for full Mythic Extracts, they go for Mythic Extract shards in the same way they do with the recasting hammers, and you get something like 45 a week.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
uh, yeah,
Much more simpler solutions because we're already getting more insignias from the camp now, right? So
yeah,
if the insignias are dropping there, the Void Rift, and this is something that is going to happen eventually down the line, and they're going to have to plan ahead, is that they have to see how the scope of introducing all this content, especially the passive income, is changing the acquisition of some of these resources. So then why not then take an opportunity to improve the rewards that drop from Drake's Chasm, Void Rift, Titanic Ruins, for example? Because eventually I'm assuming that there'll be other opportunities for us to get gleaming hammers, refining crystals. So you're just going to have to then revise how rewards are dropped eventually from content like that. So that would be one way, because we do try to suggest to them things to change. Is that would be
yeah.
one way, is just improve the Void Rift rewards. And then we wouldn't have people complaining about the minor stuff when we should be focusing on the big stuff.
Yeah, as long as they're bringing in at the same time they're bringing increasing the drop rate of the uncommon uh, soul stones, because still I've had one since they came out, and I see on global some people are like getting them every other week, and I'm just going like, oh yeah, I'm sitting on 4 unpolished soul stones. I'm just going, I've had one. So
One, yeah, exactly.
I mean, they've got to do something to address the balance on that, because it is really unfair that some people seem to get them on a more regular basis. I hope we're not having yet another RNG gate here, where some accounts are getting seeded rewards. 'Cause that would be
At this point in time, anything is a possibility. To be honest with you, especially with which is something I want to bring up later. on how they're releasing stuff out. So I wouldn't put it past them that they missed something.
Okay. Next one is going to be a cooking extracts. So it's two achievements: eat your way to something legendary and a taste of something from ancient times. Now this is all going to come down to the Mystic Jelly. So go away, go away. Don't you just love these splash screens? Right. Anyway, camp cooking. So it's going to be from the Mystic Jelly. It's going to be basically forge a whole divine crystal from the Mystic Jelly, or forge a whole ancient from the Mystic Jelly, because that's what those two things can only be. Because they're the real sort of rewards that you want from this anyway. So yeah, it's nice to have free rewards. Um, the economy for the components on that is still pretty slim, but you don't. I guess they just don't want to make them too overpowered and dropping too frequently. Some minor changes to the hero page, which can be unlocked once you've reached stage 8.4. You can now toggle on the left between large and small icons. So I know a lot of people complain that it's very difficult to display all of their heroes when they're not sharing their roster with people in an efficient way. So if you can change to small icons, then you'll be able to have more heroes displayed. So you'll be more like when you're in the combat selection, the stage selection view, and you'll be get more the heroes more bunched up, and it might just make things a bit easier to display.
Okay, so you're taking the hero page to mean the battle interface, not
Yeah, so
the
it's going
actual
to be
hero.
this one that says heroes here. They're going to change it so these are more like the squares that you have on the combat page. So, for example, if I go over to um, guild boss and I just jump into fight here, so I think they're going to be they'll be maybe more like these tiles than those
Okay,
tiles. I think that's what it's going to be.
okay, all right.
Again, this is me double bluffing what Moonton actually made. Okay. A nice one if you're moving around guilds and you've you haven't claimed your rewards yet. So if your guild leader removes you from the guild after you've completed the match, so the following day you log in and you find you've been removed from the guild, but you feel that you're missing out your rewards. These are now going to be sent to you via mail. So you can't get them if you're kicked out before reset. You don't get them.
Yeah,
Is
so
that
it
how
says
read
here
that?
that you have to you it has to be that the rewards are released. Okay, so that makes
Mhm.
sense. Okay. So if we have somebody that you just don't want to deal with anymore, you don't have to wait for them to come in and collect the rewards from Semra. You can just automatically do it, and then that player still will get compensated. So
Hmm. I'm not
because
sure.
right now we cannot kick anybody out between Tuesday, or is it Wednesday and Sunday?
Yeah.
Right. So that's usually Semra time. So
Hmm.
Semra the rewards are distributed at reset. So now you can remove that person, and you don't have to wait for them to get the rewards.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what that will be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. It's essentially a safeguard for players in case they are kicked, that they're not missing out on rewards.
Okay. The next one doesn't affect global at all. Is to do optimize the skill interface for Honest Gauntlet. Honest Gauntlet, if you aren't familiar, is the real-time arena mode that we have here on Forerunners. At the moment, we have this skill interface here, and you can choose the commander skills here. So they're going to do something with this. If I manage to get an image of this before I go on my travels for the Christmas, then
Mhm.
I will stick a screenshot in the video on top of this here.
Okay. Just to see how it changes. Yeah.
Yeah, just to show how it changes. Hi, everybody. It's Arcturus here. Just a quick update to the changes that have been made to the Honor Gauntlet. As we were talking about in the patch notes that came out yesterday, it said they'd made some changes to the skill interface of the Honor's Gauntlet. Now, the Honor's Gauntlet is, as we mentioned, is the real-time arenas game, but what they've actually done is make some more fundamental changes. They've changed one of the game modes from anti-air into what is now being described as the random monster enemy type. And this means that for each stage, you're going to have one of these random enemies coming out at a time. So this is can be ground, it can be air, it can be a large single target enemy. They've also increased the number of heroes that are being deployed into the match. Previously, it was 6, and now it is 7. And they've changed the number of commander skills available. The first 4 skills shown here, Punitive Strikes, Binding Shackles, Colossal Stun, and Ancient God Hymn, are the original ones. These are active skills. You have to activate them, and they all have an effect on how the battlefield plays out. What has been introduced in this update to the Honours Gauntlet is they have introduced 4 new passive skills. The first one is called Ace in the Hole, changes the base so that your defensive base so that it now deals true damage to 8% to one enemy within 4 tiles ahead and the other monsters around it. The other one is reduces the cost regeneration for both teams by 75%. The untapped potential one is kind of designed for a rush strategy where you get a bonus of 60% damage for the first round. And then from the second round onward, that starts to decrease by 20% each round. So by round 4, you are dealing 20% less damage. If I'm reading this correctly, you're dealing 20% less damage than your opponent. So you want to be getting your wins in as fast as possible in this. And the final one is called Unfair Advantage. This is an interesting one. It's kind of a delayed tactic whereby you have slow cost regeneration at the beginning, but as soon as you start to take damage, you get massively fast rage regen, which means you can deploy all of your heroes very quickly and you'll be able to get your heroes out very quickly in the strategy you want. So you lose the first round, but then you're set up for the rest of the match and you're able to take the win out. So that's what they've done to the commander skills. They've introduced now these battlefield effects. So this first one is for let's say so it's a random monster that comes out each round. The magic one now has a magic hotspot which appears on the battlefield, and this means that the changes are by about 20% of the changes the stats by 20% of any commander any unit which stands on that spot. So there is the opportunity to have these one hero with a massive buff. That, I mean, if you get someone like an Ingrid or a Praetor on there, that could have a real game-changing effect on how your defensive team works. And finally, in what was the single target round, they've changed it from starting from round 3. Monster's basic attack, so the enemy will now deal 30% damage, basically 30% AoE damage. That's going to stop you deploying lots of fighters with no healers around targets. So it's going to be more, you'll have to be more strategic about how you're planning, making sure you are bringing a healer and probably AoE healing so that you can deal with this large amount of incoming damage. Still, the game mode is limited to a couple of rounds a day, so between 0 and 2 server time and 10 and 12 server time. I don't know if this will have an interesting fact, but the most annoying fact is it's going from having to have 18 heroes fully geared to go into this game mode. You now need to have 21 heroes fully geared, which is the opposite of the problem that we were asking the developers to solve.
All right, what's next?
Obviously, Frostfall Jamborees are available. Everyone's had the opportunity to get all of those lovely rewards. Basically, Prancer is an entire waste of space. So if you hadn't guessed by now, don't bother using him. Alicia, sorry, not Alicia, Calypso, not Calypso, Callista. I'll get the right hero eventually. Callista is okay, but needs lots of awakenings to really start rolling.
Mhm.
And an unpolished soulstone and an emote. So lots of free stuff. You didn't have to spend.
I will give
There
him
was a lot.
credit. Yeah, I will give him credit on this though, because this the socks or the points that you needed to collect for this, it was really free to play friendly.
Oh, definitely.
So if you played the game as a free to play, to get a free reset book, an unpolished soulstone, a legendary hero, and I think that there were some divine crystals in there. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a nice little Christmas present.
Yeah. I mean, so, and loads of skill crystals, loads of skill crystal too. So there's skill crystal on every single page. And yeah, and all the login rewards for both Sun Wukong and the Frostfall Luminance sign-ins. There've been so many rewards in those, and there was one last week as well, which had loads of divines in it as well. So yeah, it was really good rewards so far. They've been very, very generous. And yeah, if and the spiritual altars you didn't have to do, because if you did the scroll exploration, that there were enough from those two to cover off any summon events that you might have
Yep.
done or not done. So yeah, it's been really, really good. They made it so that everyone could get it just by playing the game.
Yeah, in Forerunners, I did not summon at all this past weekend, and I'm still on track to get that pound polished soulstone. So they definitely did add more than we needed to complete this.
Yeah,
So kudos on that.
definitely. Okay, so obviously lots of ongoing events. The build up to Sun Wukong is ongoing. There's these things where you've got the 3 mini quests a day, which are kind of log in, uh, spend some money, spend some stamina, and you'll get rewards. And the rewards are pretty generous again here. So you've got 5 summons, you've got 3 ancients, an avatar, and uh, uh, 4 large stamina potions, and you get a little bit of lore building up as it goes along. It's a bit of a shame that you can't go back and see all the other comments that he's made in the build up to it, but that's fine. It's basically just building a bit of hype up about this guy as he's coming in.
Yeah, there is a lot of hype being built upon this guy. That is for sure.
Yeah.
That is for sure. So he's going to be a good complement to the heroes that we already have in the game. But he's not broken, at least from my initial perceptions of him.
I think you're the only
He'll
content creator
definitely
who's
be an
not saying
awakening
that,
chaser.
because every other one is wetting themselves with excitement over him.
They gotta be okay. I'll save that for my video, but I probably know exactly where they are getting really excited about him in terms of content, and I can already tell that he's not going to work like they think it's going to work. So unless you have him a 384 or a 5,
Right.
then maybe.
So just like the top 10 GVG guilds on global then.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's the same thing with Kagiri, right? You can only
Mm.
get into the record numbers when you're doing your summer runs when you get him to A3, and then you start going into A5.
Right.
And he starts, Kagiri just bypasses everybody else in terms of damage. Same thing with Sun Wukong. It's going to be the same thing. So it is going to be Krakens galore, because they were going to want to unleash this hero as much as they can. So that's exactly what this is being driven to, is to get the hero, chase the awakenings. Here is an unpolished soulstone. If you want to use it on him to make it even easier to get to A3, go ahead and do it. But that's essentially what the structure of the hero is going to play out, right?
Yeah, and I don't have too much problem with the fact that they're there are heroes whose utility kind of explodes around A3. Lucius is one who is in the regular summon pool. And again, even Kai is really starts to take off when he gets to A3 as well. So there is definitely plenty of opportunity and legacy of histories of heroes who take off once they get to that stage. So I don't have a problem with that. Um, but yeah, it's a fact it's on a limited hero, which always is a little bit more sour. But again, Kagiri is another limited hero, and he does really well once you get him to A3. So.
Yeah, you keep rubbing that A3 Kai on me, but I'm being serious about this. That I've been thinking about selecting Kai as that 15x to go with Lyra, so I can get him to A3. That's how serious I am trying to get an awakening for him. It's just I'm been stuck on A2 ever since his reworked, and it's checking me out.
Well, you did just get an unpolished soul stone.
I'm not going to invest in a polished soul stone on him. I want him in A3, but I don't think he deserves an polished soul stone. Not there.
Okay, moving on. So that was kind of like the sort of the broad what's going on at the moment. Obviously, Global is now suffering with the arena gear lock debacle. Fasti released a video this week where he broke down everything that he thinks is happening. The customer service team are putting out a message which is very different to the message that I was getting back when I was telling them weeks ago that there was a problem with and in fact, they didn't actually have the courtesy to send me that message. The only reason I saw that message was because I watched Fasti's video. So a few hours after Sebastian and I recorded our section complaining about Arena Gear Rock being introduced into the game and not being acknowledged as being a real issue to the player base, and after Fastidious' video, which came out again, highlighting the issues that people are having with Arena Gearlock, the developers released this this note to the player base saying, "We've acknowledged your feedback regarding the gear saving feature in defensive teams in Arena. You're currently it says it's going to lock it, but it doesn't. Out of concern that people are losing out." Basically, it's a lot of fluff. They saying, "Oh yeah, this was an inadvertent thing." They knew about this before it rolled out to global. I told them. I was in communication with the development team, telling them this. Sebastian was also doing it. So to say, "Oh, this is new news," it's not new news. It's annoying that they're doing this anyway. So they're taking it on board that it's not working properly. They've introduced something that Gearlock is supposedly now implemented. Still, I'm getting hammered on my defenses, but that's because I single target arena and I don't have Valder on, and so I'm not really seeing the benefit yet. I'm hoping that what they've done is an improvement to this, and we will see. We'll not have this ongoing problem with single target with arena, and defensive teams will now be working as intended, because currently it is just a pain in the neck and no one's enjoying playing it any more than if they were. So nice change by the devs. A little bit late. The wording of this is a bit frustrating, but yeah, they've acknowledged the issue. They've implemented an issue, and hopefully we can have more QA fixes in advance next time, and we won't have to be having these post-deployment patch fixes to everyone, so that the game can work as intended. One thing that happened recently was that since the last patch on Forerunners, a new I hesitate to say bug. A new screen has appeared in the game, and occasionally, after you complete an arena match, either it's a victory or a loss, this screen pops up. And it looks to be a like the stages map of the game. You've got this sort of if you click on this info button here, it talks about the campaign. So it's not really linked to this. It's just like there is some thought going on. There's some legacy code somewhere that keeps pulling this up, and there's an arena tab here and an arena defense. So I've spoken to the leaker crew. They don't know exactly what it is. They suggested it might be linked to Honor Gauntlet, but there's no real evidence for that because the Honor Gauntlet interface is very different. But it'd be interesting if they kind of do go around this sort of progression stages. The more arena stages you do, the more rewards you get during the week or even during the day to try and encourage people to do arena. Because at the moment, it is only people do it because they want to get some rewards and they're chasing Apex coins, but it's really a limited subset of people who love arena. So maybe they're looking for new ways to invigorate people into it. But yeah, this screen shouldn't be showing because you can't do anything on it.
For me, it's too vague to speculate. But I mean, we can kind of, if I know we keep trashing it. Well, at least I do. I keep trashing an arena. It's not good content. And slowly, GBG is also joining alongside with it. So yeah, I understand they're going to try to spruce it up, probably add more rewards, entice people to do it. Like the chest thing is one common way to do this. To entice people to do like 20 battles over a week and collect whatever the chest drops. But trust me, if that chest is only dropping a 1% chance of getting an ancient summoning crystal, people are not going to care. It has to be a very good reward for them to push people to do this. And we called it. We said if they roll out the arena locks feature, the arena gear lock feature as is into global, and people then go expecting it to work like they said it was, which it isn't, and now people are griping and they're complaining, you're going to turn people off from arena completely. And we understand what you're trying to do to move the feature, one step forward. But when you do little things like this, you actually draw back from it. And the people that are doing arena right now are just the ones that are happy that can bounce around in Apex and get Apex coins to get Lady Alexandra. That's it. Yeah. It's pretty much, arena is limited to 300, 400 players in global right now. It's essentially what it is.
Yeah, and it's exactly the same on Forerunners because they're the people who are, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The people who can get to Apex are now getting Lady Alexandra, and now they're dominating all of the arena stages. So they're the only people who can get up there. So everyone else is just suffering, and all of these other people in the top ranks are now getting more and more Apex coins and getting more and more unlocks for Lady Alexandra. And there's like A4 Lady Alexandras out there now. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, Forerunners definitely picked up the pace. Before they nerfed or they reduced the what was the thing that changed?
It was the reset. They reduced the number of resets you could get in a day.
That's right. That's what it was. Not making as many battles. Yeah. Some of the Forerunner people here that were accustomed to already dominating arena, they just went for it, right? They were doing so many battles a day that we are seeing A4 almost A5 Lady Alexandria is here in Forerunners already. I think its global is slowed down significantly because I have only seen a couple, if I remember correctly, from the leaderboards, but they're not awakened yet. So yeah, it's going to take a little bit before we see it in global. But in Forerunners, that cat's out of the bag. I mean, there's a lot of these Lady Alexandras already dominating GBG in the upper tiers of Overlord.
Yeah, she's a real menace as well because she can just hit anywhere on the max. And I have a feeling that Ares is going to be not Ares, Aris, the new
it's
sort of
Aris. Yeah, when
Aris.
I clicked on Google, it was Aris, and then there is Ares, which is our bull, and then Aris, which is our new hero.
Yeah, so Aris is coming in, and he's going to be able to hit people anywhere on the map as well. So the pair of them together are going to be pretty nasty on GVG defense.
So the only comment that I have left for Arena Gear Lock feature is for those of you that have been with us for here, especially at the latter end of the year, you knew we were covered this. We were warning everybody for 3 weeks. If this rolls out as it is, this is what you should expect, and you should not trust it. So share it with your guild. Let them know what what we're telling you here. What are the red flags? This is kind of my favorite place when it comes to giving warning about what the content is going to come out and what is looking like, because Arturos can also comment in as well if he feels the same way that as I do. But we both knew that this was going to be a disaster. So
this is the second time. Yeah, this is the second time there's been an arena issue that we flagged up.
Get picked up. The fact that it did not get picked up until a week after the patch had rolled out, it was puzzling to me, because we are like, we know what the problem is. I'm not going to trust it. So I have to safeguard myself when we go into global to try to do it. And the one time that I did let it slip by in global is because I just wanted to take screenshots so I could submit it again. Because I was going to tell them, listen, the same problems we saw in Forerunners is here. It's not working. And when customer service comes back to me and says, well, on our end is working, I have no idea what environment you're testing, but it's certainly not working here in 2 servers.
Can you submit a video
going on? Yeah, submit a video, right? Submit a video on what?
I can show you my history of my battle log, showing you all the losses that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah. So so for us, we've been dealing this for a month now, and it gets exasperating. And this is part of the best wishes that we have for the game coming up. That's good. This is kind of what I'm hoping that they take into account a little bit more.
Okay. Just before we get into that, we will talk about the event, if you want to call it that opens tomorrow in game, which is the Hero of the Year, which seems to have been down selected to 5 heroes, and one of them's kind of running away with it. And yeah, so this is a screenshot from WoR Official, and it looks like Eloin, Ingrid, Volker, Arrogance, and Hex have been down selected as the Heroes of the Year. I don't know. I think this is Eloin's a good healer. I think they're going to put in more heroes who don't benefit from rage regen in the same way. So we've already got Nora with her sanctity, and she doesn't get that bonus. And we're just going to see more of that coming in. And Eloin's just going to trip down. I mean, she's a great healer, don't get me wrong. I love Eloin. She's fantastic for where she works, and her rage regen is off the charts. But I think she's coming to the end of her usefulness. Next year, I think Eloin's going to really start to nosedive. We've already seen it with they're bringing out healers who don't work well with heroes with sanctity. So Tallulah, who's not currently out, or he's only just come out, does not work with Anora because the butterfly counts as a buff, and therefore Anora can't have any buffs, so it doesn't work.
Okay, so in terms of the Eloin angle, is yes, it's a possibility that she can get the power creep treatment, right? We already seen it with a lot of our OG heroes, right? I'm seeing, like Vierna slowly getting slowly trickling down. Scylla 2 is getting the power creep treatment right now as it stands with the heroes that have been introduced and the one that is coming in. Hex eventually is going to get power crept as well. So the OGs are going to suffer, and that's why we have these banners going on specific for them, because might be the last hooray kind of deals, right? So but if these are the last 5, if these are the 5 that have been nominated and are in the final, it kind of does not surprise me that Eloin is already so far ahead, because they already tilted the results towards her, because they already gave us previews of the skins that they're working on for her. And so if some people already like one of those particular skins, and they want to make sure that they possibly get it, they're going to drive the voting up for Elowen. So,
Yeah.
but if I had my vote here out of these five, like I said earlier, Volca would be the one, because ever since she got changed to be a 2 file extender, the vulnerability, the talent, and now with her exclusive weapon, he made her a whole lot better.
And
So
her
to
damage
me,
down
that's a
and
hero
extra
of the year.
damage to debuffed heroes. She's just such a solid unit these days. A5.
Yeah,
She's just an absolute beast. So
Ingrid, Ingrid to me, she just ruined the game when it came to Arena in GBG. That's essentially what
and
happened there.
and she's dropped off
So
so much now as well.
yeah, I guess.
I mean, they've solved her issue in GVG quite a lot. I mean, she's still quite powerful, but she's nowhere near as dominant as
Yep.
she was. And I do use her in my APOC 2 runs as a leader, and because I think she's working. I've got a really nice radiant erosion comp going on, and she feeds into that, but she also boosts my Lucius. Um, so yeah, she's got a lot of utility there, but she's nowhere near as broken as she was when she first came in, and they've done it without nerfing her, which is a really good thing that they've done. So credit to the devs; they found ways of limiting her to be less painful, but without actually physically nerfing her. Um, yeah, Volker's really solid. She's just going from strength to strength at the moment. She's just got such a solid overall kit. Arrogance can put up so much damage. Hex is a good magic dealer. He's not a great marksman. So I'll give
Yeah,
that. That's
that's yeah. We know his niche. He's a single
mm,
target hero that is good over a long run, right? That's when he really shines.
yeah,
And if we need some burst damage to take something down, yeah, we can bring him in, pop him down, activate the ultimate, eliminate that clone or that demon shoulder before he unfreezes or something like that.
yeah,
That's his niche. But I think of somebody that adds value, which is what I would consider an MVP to be, somebody that adds value to a composition. It just, yeah, Elowen does a decent enough job when we need her to, if we need extra rage or we need to clean up a poison. But Volca just opens possibilities sometimes on the type of compositions you can bring in.
yeah. Especially with the global team heal as well as an option that just makes her much more flexible in terms of what you do with the rest of the team.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, just I think hands down of these five, I do love arrogance. He is A5. He does a great job for me. But at the end of the day, there is more content where I'm able to use Volker and use her as a DPS, healer, buffer, debuffer. Yeah, she's just does so much. Um, I think of those five, um, I think she's definitely a solid contender. Ingrid again, I do love her a lot, and Hex I've been chasing for a long time, so I've got a little bit of a flame for him. So I think for me, it's probably Volker, Ingrid, Arrogance, Hex. Out of that
Yep.
because I think Elowen is just going to drop off, and so I don't think I think her longevity is limited. I think she's going to be outpassed.
Yeah. It always happens. It always happens. It's not very long that some of these heroes get to stay at the top for long.
Was really it. So what we wanted to do now is kind of like have a bit of thought for stuff we want to happen in 2025 and beyond for Watcher of Realms. We've had 18 months now on global release. It's doing. We've had some ups, we've had some downs, and but overall, I think they're doing a pretty good job. They're starting to engage with the community in more healthy ways. They're being much more open about what's going on and how things are progressing. So I think it's really the devs have taken on board some very positive things. Um, for me, what I would like to see in 2025. I think I kind of made a reference to it earlier, which is the soul stone economy, which I think seems so unfair. They need to find a way of balancing that a bit more, because there seem to be some people who suffer out, and that means they're not gaining as much. I know Destin put out a I put in a suggestion for getting the rates into the summons, and that's had like over 1,000 votes last time I saw, which is like one of the largest engagements that we've seen on the suggestions pages for uh, something to come in, and it is kind of implied that they should be doing it under local legislation within the EU. Um, so definitely things there.
I think the rates thing should be even further than just. I don't know if it was suggested for just summons or the rates of the heroes during summoning events, but I think that should be further carried to what is the drop rate for each type of gear in each gear raid, gear dungeon, the artifacts as well. Within that 4%, what are the chances of you getting that specific exclusive? There are so many games out there now that either have released or are releasing or in beta where they are posting all that data, not necessarily in game. They just put in a link for you to go to their website, and they have everything on the website. And they have like long tables just showing you exactly what the drop rates for each piece that they have in there. I
Yeah,
just don't
so
know why they are so stubborn right now in not trying to implement this, because this was brought up during the dev interview that they had with Fastidious and Susie. And they said, we'll look into it. But so far, nothing. And they keep ignoring it. It's not something that they're looking forward to doing, I think. And that's when we had Destin on. When we had, do you think that they reduced the pity because they don't want to really tell us what the rates are? And it's like, Destin said, yeah, that could be it. But after all the screw ups with the summons that happened in 2024, I think it's time. Just be
yeah,
honest about it. Be upfront about it.
as you say, so many other games are doing this. I was playing like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes back in 2016, 2017 at time, and they were doing it then. So it's not like things which game developers aren't putting out, and that's published by EA. EA being one of the scummiest game developers in the world, and they're able to put the information out there. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that hard. They know it. They have the data. They can certainly keep track of it. So just tell us what it is.
Hmm.
So I don't want to really, we don't want to really take over the best wishes. I mean, we had a couple, you and I, right, that we could bring in, and we welcome you to in the comment section. Let us know what it is that you're hoping that we could possibly see as an improvement in the game. So I'm gonna I put down 5, but I'll just share 3 because these are the ones that I think are number 1 for me is that we need more epics in the game. I think that it shouldn't be all legendary focus on 15x banners, because that eventually will wear out, will wear thin in the community. Example, Raid Shadow Legends. So take your cue from there. So I would say hopefully they consider adding more epics that are non-lords into the game. Just to, maybe they just need to bring some type of utility, just like
and
something that
Philippa
they
is
can
not the
add to a
answer.
composition. What was that?
Philippa is not the answer.
No, not heroes that we need for a fusion or a shard summon. No, not anything like that. Just somebody that can provide some type of utility to any composition in the game, to add value to the legendaries that you already have in your account, and not really make this all like, just legendary on top of a legendary, just each one of these trying to power creep the other. That's not going to be a long-term solution to that.
Yeah, because Demos it is still a very solid epic, and you can be deployed in a lot of teams because he can just ramp up damage so well. But yeah, we need more heroes like that. But the 2025 power crept version of Demos as an epic in game.
Yep. So do you
More
have
two
another
railed
one, or you want me to share
tile
another one?
fighters as well would be another good one to have.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Here's another one. At least this is on my wish list. I'm going to say this. For global, you haven't experienced it yet, but take my word for it. What it honors Gauntlet is right now is what they should change Arena to, and then completely redo RTA. That's another thing that I'm hoping that they consider for 2025, because the way that things are playing out right now with this content is not. This is not the refresher that it needs, right? I know they're going to try different things with this different screens popping up, but if there was a direction that would really make that content interesting, it would be whatever the features that they added to Honors Gauntlet, put them to what it is in Classic Arena right now. Change the maps. It is time. We've been asking for it. There's got to be other type of solutions that we can have in that type of PvP content. And when it comes to RTA, just go back to the drawing board, because this whole thing about 18 heroes having to be ready to go, that's not going to work.
Especially when you don't have a gear lock that works.
Exactly. That's the other issue as well. Yep, you got it. Do you have any other ones, or you want me to share my last one?
I don't. I think for me, this is a minor sort of wish list item. I know that there's sort of Nightmare 5 of the Guildbot of Drake's Chasm coming at some point. I think for Honor's Gauntlet, it would be really nice to be able to have a spectator view, so you could drop in and see like how things are progressing. In if you're not actively taking part in that round, you can spectate the battles and just drop in as if it's your team and see, oh, this is how this team is doing. Maybe you can watch a few replays. Maybe it limits it to like the last 3 replays so it's not taking up too much server space or something.
Yeah.
But it lets people learn. And oftenly the people who are further down, they want to learn techniques, they don't know how to get it. Watching these top guilds hammering one another is how people learn.
So have like feature battles, like as the battles are being conducted and during a certain window, pick like 3 that you can peek in, and then just have it rotate as the whole thing is being updated, and then just have people have the ability to click on either one of the 3 that are being shown, and they can kind of notice as to how things are progressing or how the battle played out.
The
That's easy.
community is dying for GVG content. I know this because whenever I put up a GVG video, it gets like twice as many views as any other video that I put up. So people want to watch it. They want to learn. They want to get the ideas. They want to get tips and tricks for how they can deal with these stages. So if you make it more accessible to people, then they're going to get more engagement with it. And yeah, I think maybe my wish list is some making maps which they've tilted maps for season 4 went one way. Sorry, season 5 went one way. Sorry, season 4 went one way. Season 5 has gone the other way. And now, hopefully, in season 6, when it's coming up. Oh no, wait, we're in season 6. Season 5 went one way. Season 6 has gone the other way. Then hopefully season 7 they'll find a balance, because at the moment the demon soldier they've brought in to counter Ingrid is about as useful as wet toilet paper and just melts before they're able to do anything. So
Yep,
they need to look at that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's those demon soldiers, I can tell we need to get them to level 4, level 5 to really for them to do what they need to do. Because I was like, you and I, or at least I decided to test the demon soldier and some of the defenses from our own guild, and even those that were low power, they were melting him right away. So it's like, no, this is not going to be useful at all.
The fact you had to bring in a healer to keep him going it just kind of defeats the point of having him there entirely. Okay. I think that's probably really it. We didn't want to make this too long an episode. We're coming up on 50 minutes now.
Here's my last one, because this is a big one, and I think that this will be, because I have found trust me on this. I have found that this is a way to touch their nerve in a sense as well when you are submitting suggestions or you are talking about content in the game. This is my hope for 2025 when it comes to Moonton. Please have a better quality control system when you are releasing content in the game. I think it's about time that, especially now that you're inviting all these different players to be part of your WoR cabinet and you're doing all these cheesy damage tests or artifact testing that you're having them do, to slant it in a way that is more conducive to you selling the hero or selling the artifact. Maybe you use that WoR cabinet to test some of the features that is going on in the background with your game and not depend on the content creators to find out those little bugs or these little issues when the content is released. And if you are truly want to devote yourself to the Forerunner server, then please take our suggestions and comments to heart, because we're telling you the big red flags, and you just for some reason, because you want to expedite the content to global, you just say F it and you release it.
I think for Arena Gearlock, it was they'd already submitted the patch for Apple approval, but by the time we were feeding back saying this isn't working as intended, and so there was very little they could do. They'd already committed to rolling it out, but they could have just said we can't do anything about it now. We'll fix it in the next patch.
No, but that's something that they can't do. I mean, they have to let us forerun this stuff at least for a month, or have somebody test it in the background, because whoever is part of the quality control department, it's not doing their job right now, and it's bad. They have to release apology statements because of this little things that they roll out and they're not catching. They need somebody, use the WoR cabinet as part of this. And when content creators get this stuff, we are then actually displaying the stuff as they're supposed to work. Not that we're finding the bugs and saying, I don't think this hero or the artifact is working as intended, because it's annoying. And especially with the gear sets, the interaction between gear sets, that shouldn't have been part of the system. Something would definitely miss there. So that's my big wish. It's just improved quality control. That's it. That was my big one out of this list that I made today.
I think there is at least 3 other content creators who would back you on that as well. So it's definitely a hot topic at the moment. Okay, so that's really it for this episode. I mean, obviously, just put this up there, but yeah, basically, have a great 2025. Have a good time with your friends and family over the holiday period, and we will see you back on the 11th of January.
Yeah, so just as a minor note there, we are going into a little bit of a hiatus. Arcturus and I have been discussing the background as to how we can improve the exposure of the podcast. It certainly does help when you do come in and you hit like and subscribe, in terms of then the algorithm pushing out the content to watch our own players that are clicking on other content they're already enjoying as well. So just little things like that, to try to make sure that we spread the word when it comes to this, and you are aware of some of the issues that might be coming into the global server. Aside from that, enjoy the rest of 2024. Hopefully there are no more scandals for us to deal with. If you do get swung Wukong, I hope that it's a hero that helps progress your account, because I do see him as a progression type hero for some. It will push content. And again, thank you for your support in 2024. I wish you the best and hope to see you back in 2025. And Arcturus, I have said before, this was a fun little adventure that we put together back in March, I think it was. When we
February, I think the first episode was the first streamed episode. Yeah.
February, when we first started tackling this, and we've grown. We found our rhythm, and now we're trying to get as many of the other CCs to join us in here as well. So
we've definitely got some more people lined up for January. I've been speaking to to War Guides to get Ronaldo to get him on, and trying to get Marbucket to join us as well for an episode to have a retrospective with him, so he could see what's changed and get our opinions on that and get his views. So yeah, we're definitely trying to get more people involved because that's where the fun is. And it's one thing to play a game on your own, but it's another thing to play it with your friends and to be able to talk
Yeah.
to people who are as passionate about the game as you are. It's really good fun.
Yep. You got it. All right.
So
So
thank you
Merry
very much,
Christmas
everyone.
to us to celebrate it, or any other type of holiday that you may celebrate during this time of the year. Wish you all the best. And like Arturo said, see you in 2025.
Bye bye, everybody.